In this lesson, you will learn about fourth declension nouns and the ablative of separation. You've already learned that there are 5 declensions for nouns in Latin, and that we know which declension a noun belongs to by looking at the genitive singular of the dictionary entry. For example, I know that the word pecunia belongs to the first declension because it has ae as its genitive singular. And likewise, I know the words lupus and donum both belong to the second declension because their genitive singular is an I with a macron. And then also the words rex regis, civitas civitatis, and carmen carminus belong to the third declension because their genitive singular is is. You have also already learned that a noun has a gender, either masculine, feminine, or neuter, and the only way to know the gender of a noun is again by looking at the dictionary entry. In general, most first declension nouns are feminine, so for example, pecunia again, I know is feminine, but there are 6 words in the first declension that are masculine. For example, we learned poeta is masculine. Second declension nouns are split evenly between the masculine and the neuter. Lupus is masculine, for example, and donum is neuter. The third declension nouns have all 3 genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter. Rex, for example, is masculine, civitas is feminine, and carmen is neuter. And again, there's no way to know what gender these nouns are except by looking at the dictionary entry. The things you need to know about the fourth declension are: first, I identify a word as belonging to the fourth declension by looking it up and seeing that its genitive singular is a us with a macron, pronounced us. So, for example, the 2 words senatus and cornu are both from the fourth declension because their genitive singular is the us with a macron. The fourth declension has all 3 genders. A majority of the words in the fourth declension are masculine, such as spiritus and senatus. A couple words are neuter, such as cornu and genu, but only 1 word is feminine, manus, which means hand or band, as in like a group of people. I form the stem of a fourth declension noun by subtracting the genitive singular ending from the word. For example, the stem of senatus would be senat, and the stem of cornus would be corn. The fourth declension is often called the U declension because of how it is declined. The masculine and feminine endings are the same, while the neuter are slightly different. Below is the paradigm for the fourth declension. Masculine and feminine. Nominative singular is us. Genitive singular is us. Dative singular ui. Accusative singular Ablative singular u. The plural, masculine and feminine endings. Nominative us. Genitive Dative ibus. Accusative us. Ablative ibus. The neuter, singular, nominative u. Genitive us. Dative Accusative Ablative Plural, nominative ua. Genitive Dative ibus. Accusative ua. Ablative ibus. Things to note about the paradigm of the fourth declension. First off, macra. This declension requires that you know all macra whenever you decline it. Watch out also for the ending us, as in us with a macron, since it could be genitive singular, nominative plural for the masculine or feminine, or accusative plural for the masculine or feminine. I can determine which one of these it is through context and through adjectives. Here are some common fourth declension words: spiritus, fructus, senatus, cornu, manus, sensus, genu, versus. The challenge of the fourth declension comes, as always, with adjectival agreement. There are no fourth declension adjectives, only fourth declension nouns. So observe how the phrase happy feeling, entire senate, lovely hand, and the large huge horn are declined on the following slides. For example, happy feeling, lightus sensus. In the genitive, it's lighti sensus. Lightus is a first and second declension, or otherwise known as a 1-2 adjective. It must use endings from the first or second declension. Because sensus is masculine, lightus will use masculine endings. But then observe a fourth declension word with a third declension adjective, such as the entire senate, omnis senatus. The omnis must agree with the senatus, and so it must use masculine endings from the third declension, such as omnem and omnes, and in the genitive plural, omnium. But look at how manus and bellus work together. Manus is from the fourth declension, but it is the only word that is feminine. And so as a result, the adjectives that modify it must also be feminine. Bellus aum is from the first or second declension adjective, so it will use endings from the first declension for feminine nouns. Hence, a and ae for the nominative and genitive singular, and ae and arum for the nominative and genitive plural. In this phrase, the large, huge horn, you can see how a fourth declension noun works with both a 1-2 adjective, magnius aum, and a third declension adjective, ingens, ingentes. Furthermore, the word cornu is neuter, so our words must agree with cornu by being neuter as well. Therefore, instead of using magnus or magna, I will use magnum for the word for large. Notice, too, that in the neuter, the nominative and the accusative are always the same. The nominative would be cornu magnum ingens. Accusative is also cornu magnum ingens. The nominative plural, magna cornua ingentia. Accusative plural, magna cornua ingentia. The other item in Chapter 20 is the ablative of separation. The ablative of separation implies that a person or thing is separated or removed from someone or something else, and therefore answers the question, separated from what, or separated from whom. The ablative of separation can use a preposition in Latin, but it does not have to. If it does, it will use either de, abera, or ex e, regardless of whether or not an author uses a preposition in Latin. The ablative of separation is translated as from. For example, servitute means from slavery. De viro means from the man. E vinculis means from chains. Verbs of freeing, lacking, and depriving often indicate that you have an ablative of separation. Here are some examples: prohibere, liberare, carere, and sometimes defendere. Look at this sentence. Cicero hostes ab urbe prohibuit. The prohibuit is a verb of depriving. Cicero prevents the enemies from the city. Look at the other example. Eos timore liberavit. Liberavit is a verb of free. Timore is the ablative of separation. He has freed them from fear. And the third example. Agricolae pecunia saepe carbant. Carbant is a verb of lacking. If you look at its definition, it even tells you that it takes the ablative case. The ablative that it takes is always an ablative of separation. The farmers often lacked money.